The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Everybody, welcome to our webinar here. We'll be getting started at the top of the hour. And just to let you know that you're in the right spot, this is how to magnetically attract new direct access patients without relying on physician referrals. So just to make sure that this is working properly, can you type in the chat box where your practice is at or where you're at right now? Be extremely helpful. And then if you could also type in your favorite EMR, that'd be even better. Okay, so it's in the questions tab. That's fine.
Yeah, that's where it seems to be.
Frederick Chen, New Brunswick. Kingston, Ontario. St. Mary's, Ontario.
We have a lot of very long-time users. That's nice to see.
How do I do
Ooh, favorite EMR, Practice Perfect. Good answer.
That's great. I need to grab water here before we get started, but we have a couple minutes, and just so we make best use of this time, right now, Steve, it's open, so you can ask any questions to your owners and go crazy in the chat box if there's anything that's pressing or if there's a big barrier that your owners are dealing with right now. That'd be great.
Okay, and you're showing up in the questions box. So just, I guess we're not starting till top of the hour, and while Chad is taking a break, if anybody's online that does have any specific questions and anything that we should be handling through support, we can send to support. But if anybody's got any specific sort of high-level Practice Perfect questions, when are you guys going to be doing this? Are you doing that? You know, by all means, type it into your questions box, and we can deal with it. Again, if there's any issues, we can send them kind of off to our support people as well. All kinds of things we're working on. I hope you guys are getting the new newsletters that we've been doing. We started our first one in September. Another newsletter is coming out in, I think, a week or two, actually. And so we're using those to kind of communicate new things that are going on. So hopefully you guys are getting those. We're doing those via email and via actual old-fashioned mail as well. Still a few minutes until we begin. So one of the questions that came up was learning how to maximize all the features of basically using Practice Perfect. Would love to have a webinar on online charting. So for that, I can't tell you who that particular clinic is, but for that particular clinic, you can phone up anytime you want to support, and they can take you through the online charting. Also, we have a YouTube channel. Go into YouTube, type in Practice Perfect or Practice Perfect University. Lots of videos on there. Charting is one of them. You're certainly entitled to the training on charting, but there are lots of videos online. Again, just go into YouTube, Practice Perfect, and you'll see all these things. It's a good way to kind of learn. A lot of clinics do ask us, I don't think we're using the software to its full potential. The problem is we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what you're using. We don't know what you're not using. So we are going to be doing some more seminars on things like that. But in the meantime, going to the YouTube channel, you're going to see a lot of things listed that you may not know that we've been doing. So that's a good start as well. That's another reason why we're doing the newsletter, is to introduce new features that that you may not know about. So again, feel free to ask. We'll give it another couple minutes here, but it's a very common question. We do feel the majority of our users, quite frankly, aren't using the software to its fullest. It is a chronic problem.
That is a industry-wide problem.
Yeah.
For also. Yep.
Oh, a clinic likes the same clinic. I think it looks like Chantel that we implemented one of your suggestions. We do try to do that. So if you send in requests, if they're in reasonable demand or we like the ideas, then we like most ideas, and we do try to squeeze them in when we can. So that's good to see the cycle gets completed. So just give another couple minutes. Oh, I think we have another question there. Yes, you can bill. For Maria, you can bill telehealth through Practice Perfect. That was actually introduced about a year ago. So call our support department and they will get you set up with telehealth. It doesn't matter if you're in Alberta or Saskatchewan or Manitoba. It's sort of universal across the country. So absolutely, telehealth is already up and working. Just call support and they will get you set up on it. There's no additional cost or anything for that. Again, a good example of our users not necessarily knowing all the things that we're kind of doing, even though we try and try and try.
Cool.
Chad, you want to wait another minute or two?
Sure. I'm just going to make sure everything's loaded up here. And I'm going to go full screen. Great. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm ready when.
Well, we are very good. Okay, so again, I want to welcome everybody to today's session. I'm Steve Pressman from Practice Perfect. For those of you that may not know me, hopefully you know my name after all this time. And I want to thank you all for joining us today. One of the big things that we like to push with our software is we see Practice Perfect as a practice management, not just a practice management tool, not just a billing tool, not just a documentation tool, but a tool to hopefully help enhance a practice operationally, grab more revenue through the door, which is why we have partnered with Chad Madden here. Chad is from Breakthrough PT Marketing. We like what Chad has to say. We see a lot of gurus out there. We talk to a lot of people. Chad really kind of speaks our language. He's got some great ideas. I thought it would be a really, really good idea to introduce our users to Chad and some of the things that he is offering, because I do firmly believe he does bring value to the practices that we do set him up with. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Chad. And I'm going to be here for the entire session. I may be jumping back in as well if there's any questions specifically for me as well. And Chad, they're all yours.
Thank you, Steve. And I also want to say thank you for putting this on. I think it's a really big deal. And here's why. I get the opportunity to work with a lot of different companies serving physio and physical therapy. And the thing that I admire most about Steve is that like he does listen and he implements changes and is constantly striving to serve private practice physios and PTs. So I really admire that coming from a private practice owner. So thank you for that, Steve. Really cool. What we're going to discuss over our time together here is how to magnetically attract new direct access patients without relying on physician referrals. So regardless of whether you're in Canada or you're in the United States, and talking with practice owners, one thing that comes up repeatedly is, how can I survive if I don't have enough physician referrals? And I'm going to share some of my personal story and then also stories of hundreds of other owners that we've worked with here in our time together. So my goal for you is, at the end of our time together, you have an action plan and you know exactly what you need to do to make your practice more stable, so you can kind of turn the faucet on and off in your own marketing and control your new patient flow, and know that you can increase new patients or decrease new patients or level off whatever you need for the growth of your practice. So if you stay into the end, I'll have a very unique offer for you to get as much as you possibly can with regards to understanding how to attract direct access patients and how to diversify your practice. This is something unique that we've put together for Steve and the Practice Perfect community. So really cool, and I'll be sharing that at the end here. So what makes this different? I don't know if you've ever been on a webinar before, but for me, I've done a lot of them, been on them as a private practice owner, and everything that I'm sharing with you today is real life. So this isn't ivory tower philosophy or anything like that. This is literally, I'm standing in my private practice right now. We have real world problems going on right outside my door, from, in terms of working with patients or billing problems that we're trying to solve. We recently had a Medicare issue, compliance issues, all that stuff. We're dealing with that right here. So, and I'll be sharing with you real life, real world strategies from in the trenches of private practice, physio, and PT, not that ivory tower philosophy. So who this is for? This is ideally for private practice PT and physio owners. And this is especially for you if you're looking to diversify where your new patients are coming from. And really quick, if you're going to take notes, this is where you want to start writing some notes down. In private practice, there are 3 places we can get new patients from. And one is physician referrals. So depending on the province or the state that you're in, could be a nurse practitioner, physician assistant, physician. Some states, I know, you can get a chiropractic referral or a dentist referral, etc. But it's generally a clinician that's making a professional referral to you. That's group number 1. Group number 2, target market number 2, is your patient list. So these are patients that are actively coming in now that might need additional care for the same or a different diagnosis. It could be referrals from your patient list, or it could be people that you saw 3 years ago who are returning for additional care. 3 years ago, you saw Mary for her back. Now you're seeing her for her total knee replacement, and the post-op rehab that accompanies that. So that would be patient list. And then finally is the general public. And right now in private practice, this is it's a hot topic. It's trendy to have people that are cold traffic, so they don't know, like, and trust you yet, and they come into your practice. And predominantly what we're going to be talking about today are the second 2, the past patients and also the general public. So I'm not going to handle too much about physicians. So even if you don't have direct access, so I know there are some states like Texas, Illinois, Michigan that have quasi, so like partial direct access or no direct access at all, this is still applicable. And if you do have direct access to patients, even better. So really quick, who I am, this is a picture of me with my mom. It was on Mother's Day of this year. So I opened Madden Physical Therapy. That's what I'm standing in right now, my office, September 2nd, 2003. After not really doing anything with my practice for the first 3 years, other than my original business plan, we grew the practice 600% in 30 months. So what that means is that if you're here right now and let's say you're seeing 100 visits a week in your practice, that would be like 24 months or 12 months from now, you'd be seeing 200 visits a week. 24 months from now, you'd be seeing 400 visits a week. And then 30 months from now, you'd be seeing 600 visits a week. And that's almost exactly what we did. By the way, really quick personal win here. We set our all-time record last week, and that was 216 and 529, whatever that adds up to together, 745 or something like that. That's what we did last week, and that's for 2 locations. So right now, if you go to YouTube or Google and you search sciatica exercises, I think I still have the #1 video in the world for that. About 3 million views for one video, 12 million views total. We've literally have seen people from all over the world that have traveled into our office here, and I've also done telemedicine, treating people from 5 continents, which is pretty neat. Also wrote 2 books along the way. Back to Normal was the most recent one for back pain, and then, as Steve said in the introduction, co-founder of Breakthrough Physical Therapy Marketing, and have a course called Killer Marketing. Also did some stuff in commercial real estate. We'll let that go for now. And as of today, I have 5 children. The reason I say as of today is we're expecting again in January. 1 wife, so 4 donkeys at this point, 7 chickens. That's actually now 2. We just lost a ton of chickens, which is devastating. We're down to 2 cats and a border collie named Georgia. So along the way, I've done a lot of things right, and I've also done made some huge mistakes. I've done a lot of things wrong. So after failing at direct access marketing for 6 years, and just to give you a little bit of backdrop, when I first opened up, 100% of the new patients that we saw were physician referrals. So that was true in Pennsylvania up until about 2005. And what happened is I had to discover and actually look outside of the physical therapy industry altogether to think about how to attract direct access patients the right way. And then our practice owner of the year in BPTM last year, Lee Sauerbutz, said, like, having marketing systems in place is like being able to turn the faucet on whenever we need new patients. And that is, if you're doing direct access marketing the right way, if you're going straight to the general public, cold traffic, people who don't know, like, and trust you yet, if you know how to do it the right way, then it helps you to diversify where you're getting your patients from. So you're not relying on any single physician, or you're not just pounding your past patient list for patient reactivations. But what you can do is, in particular, like a slow season. So for us, like the holiday between US Thanksgiving and the New Year is typically a slow season for us. And then what you can do is, if you have systems in place, you can turn the faucet on a little bit more so you carry yourself throughout that slow season. And that's exactly what discovering this has done for our practice, and then others as well. The picture here is, it's a picture of a postcard that I wrote for Gilbert Physical Therapy. It's the original low back pain and sciatica workshop postcard that worked really well. By the way, they're still using that now 20 months later. So it's not flashy. There's not a lot of logos or anything like that. It's long copy. And that the first mailing of that, they had 67 people register for a workshop. And we'll talk more about that story here in a second. But so I discovered this the hard way, wasted a lot of time and money in the beginning, and you get to cheat and take a huge shortcut. So the hard way is presenting the same way we did in PT school or at Physio University, and that's where we're in a room with our colleagues. So other students of PT, of Physio, that are at the same level as we are, same grade, and will graduate and get their licenses at the same time, and then usually a professor or two. And when we're at university, what we do is we're trying to speak intelligently in a way that we get a good grade. And what I tried to do when I started doing direct access marketing is talking with the cold lay public in the same exact way, and I found out the hard way that doesn't work at all. Another thing is, if you don't know how to set up a workshop or set up a public presentation the right way, people fall asleep. That's really embarrassing. At the peak, we did a workshop with 106 people in it. And at the lowest point, we had a media marketing method that was working really well, and it was our local newspaper. And that local newspaper absolutely died off, and that went cold. And at the lowest point, we had sent out about 100,000. We were in 100,000 newspapers on a Sunday, which worked for us well in the past. And we actually got down to the point where 2 people registered and nobody showed up. And I made a management error at that point and thought that workshops were dead. And I discovered that they're not dead. And it was just, I needed a smarter way to approach that in my marketing, and I'm going to share that with you here. So having no audience, the other thing that I would do is I would mimic what I saw other physical therapists in my local area doing, and they would say something in their advertisement like, now accepting direct access patients. And here's the problem. In the US, there was a huge push for direct access. Direct access is a destination for us as licensed physical therapists or licensed physios. It is not a destination for patients. Patients don't care if we're direct access or not. They just know that they have pain when they're doing something functional. So every time I go to sleep, my back really hurts. That's how they're thinking of it. They only want relief, and they want to get back to normal and know that they're not alone, but they want to get back to living a normal life. And that's all they really care about, or that's the primary concern that they have. Direct access is just a speed bump along the road. And again, we know owners that are using these same techniques in like Texas or California or Illinois or Michigan that are crushing it, and they don't have direct access or don't have it to the same extent. So there's a better way to advertise. than saying that. And do you want the super simple way that packs the room and has people racing to schedule an appointment for you? If you do, just type in yes in that questions tab, and then Carly will help me out here. And I just want to make sure that this is something that we really want.
Yep. So Ellen says yes. Chantel, yes. Kelly, yes. Sarah, yes. A bunch of yeses coming in here.
Great. Cool. So in the past 12 months, we've attracted here at Madden PT, and when I say we, I now have a mini marketing department. I have an external marketing person here, an internal marketing person that helps me execute everything here. So we've attracted over 1,050 direct access patients, and along the way, we didn't do a single physician luncheon. So fair and legal disclaimer, when I share the results of how well these systems have worked for us, worked for me, they by no means are a promise of how well they will work for you. Other practice owners that we've shared this with have done amazingly well. Some, I would say now, even many, even better than me, and others have done worse. Just a quick aside, usually when they've done worse, they'll say something along the lines of, I applied everything, we implemented everything exactly as you said. And then I'll say, great, show me. And then usually what happens is they've changed something, or they didn't test something that they could have tested. So they usually do have a minor change. And the example would be like that postcard. We've had owners that go to test that, and they get it graphic designed, and we know that graphic design doesn't work on that type of postcard almost in any market and anywhere in North America, and it's just not feasible. So usually the person will try to change it. So that's usually what happens there, a little inside baseball. So the 3 secrets, again, if you're taking notes, you're going to want to write these down. So I'm going to give you the 3 secrets, and then we'll go through each one and talk about it more. So secret number 1 are the 3 reasons why and becoming the hunted. Secret number 2 are the 3 skills for you to master. Secret number 3, rookie mistakes. So secret number 1, the reasons why and being the hunted. Well, in the beginning, so this is back in 2008. We had direct access now for 2 or 3 years in Pennsylvania. I'm one of the first therapists in Pennsylvania to have the direct access license, and I'm trying everything else. So 2 or 3 years of trying everything else that I see other PTs doing, and I know that it's not working. I'm tracking everything metrically. And so I started looking outside the industry and looking for, well, at the time, everybody was in PT was offering free screens. And we know that from cold traffic, it doesn't attract the right person. And metrically speaking, that did not make sense for us to continue doing that in Central PA. So I was like, fine. And I started looking outside the industry. So I went to everything from auto sales, auto repair, pizza delivery, like any industry, real estate, any industry that you can imagine. I just started studying what they were doing. And in every single one of those industries, they didn't have the benefit of having physician referrals. So I was looking at that, and then I came across, well, you can do a one-to-many presentation, you can record it, you can get so much more mileage out of it, and it's basically what now has become, for us, workshops. So I said, okay, I'm going to do a workshop, rewrote a whole marketing plan, and this was right, we had to fire the first, or I had to fire the first marketing person I ever hired. She kind of crashed our business, a huge ethical thing. But anyhow, so December 27th, very tough, had to terminate her. And then January, we start hosting these workshops. And in the beginning, they were called pain-free motion workshops. So they were for everybody. They were, if you had neck pain, back pain, shoulder problems, hip problems, knee problems. I would never do that again, but I didn't know any better, so I did that workshop. We had 27 people show up to the event. And just out of curiosity, so if you had 27 people in a room, how many people would you think is good to convert over to a plan of care? Just type that in the questions tab, and just curious as to what you think would be good there.
So 5, 5, 5. There's 17, 5, 10.
Great. So today I would think like 24, 25 would be a good conversion. That's what I would expect from me or my therapist. At that first event, we had 3. So 3 people scheduled. So really quickly, I learned that I had no idea how to help people schedule an appointment or how to have a call to action that made sense there. We also attracted a lot of interest from the local PT community and chiropractic community, and I think we even had a doctor or two that were in that room. So I didn't necessarily know how to attract the right people, and I also didn't know how to set up the event, structure the event so that it resulted in people scheduling. So that was the beginning. And then, but the one thing that I did know, and this is again studying outside of PT and physio and outside of healthcare, is that information is the best lead magnet. And here's what I mean by that. If you are making an offer to the public for people that don't know you yet, you basically have three options. Number one is you can offer a free product. So imagine that you're in a town, let's say you're in Saskatoon, and there's 50,000 people in your 5-mile radius. And you want to, the first thing that you want to do for your advertising is you want only people that have back pain, or only people that have a balance and dizziness problem or rotator cuff problem to raise their hand and say, yes, I have back pain, or yes, I have a balance and dizziness problem, etc. So there's three things that we can use to try to help that to happen. Number one is we can offer a product. So we could offer a free packet of BioFreeze, or we could offer a free TheraBand or something like that. The second thing is we could offer a free service. So that's where that free consult comes in, or free screen, or free appointment. So free service. And then finally, we could offer free information. So that could be a book, could be a video, could be a report, could be inviting somebody to a workshop or some sort of information benefit. And what we know is that time and time again, metrically speaking, and this is universal, this isn't just for Madden PT, we know that information is the best lead magnet. People that read a book are willing to travel, they'll overcome time, money, and distance, and all the other typical excuses just to show up at your place, and they'll demand to see you. They'll demand to be treated by you. So it's information is the best lead magnet. It's going to result in higher conversion, better ROI for you, and a better patient that respects you for your expertise. And again, that's universal. That's not something that's unique to here. So and let's back up on this for a second. If you're trying to influence where your patients are coming from, and you're trying to diversify, and you want to start attracting people from the general public, let's go through this example. You can, there's two rooms. You walk into treatment room A, exam room A, and the hypothetical patient, Steve, is in exam room A. And you say, okay, Steve, what brought you here? And Steve says, well, I saw that you were hosting a workshop, so I came to the workshop, filled out my sheet, and by the way, picked up a copy of your book and read your report on back pain and sciatica, and watched a couple videos online of you, and I'm here because I want to be treated by you, and I know you can help me. Okay, so that's exam room A. Exam room B, you walk in, and it's Carly. And you say, okay, Carly, what brings you in today? And Carly says, well, I'm here because my doctor sent me. And who would you rather treat? Would you rather treat Steve in exam room A, or would you rather work with Carly in exam room B?
A. Chantel says A. Steve. Okay, lots of Steves. No one wants to work with me.
Oh, that's okay. So you get the idea there, and we know again from like looking at metrics and studying graduation rate that room A, the person that comes into you because of information, and they consumed your information, that person will complete their plan of care 90% of the time. The person in exam room B will complete their plan of care 50% of the time. So really quick, especially when we're talking about building a patient list and marketing to that list in the future, we want as many A's as we can possibly have. If we have 1,000 people on our patient list and they're all exam room B's, they're all physician referrals, that list isn't going to be nearly as responsive as 1,000 people that are made up of exam room A's. So that is why we use information. And again, it's based in metrics, it's scientific, and you can use the same for your practice. And then third reason why is it allows you to build systems by leveraging your time with one-to-many presentations. And this gets into opportunity of cost. And the classic Harvard Business School supposedly, this might be an urban legend or urban myth, but if Bill Gates is walking down the hallway of Microsoft, or was walking down the hallway of Microsoft, and there's a $100 bill laying on the floor, does he stop to pick it up? The quick answer is no, and it's because his time was worth more than $100 a second. So even if he could bend down really quick and pick up the $100 bill and stand back up, his time would have been spent better doing other things. Now, it's kind of a silly hypothetical example, but it really applies to us as PTs. And if you could be in a room with spend an hour in a room with 20 people and have 15 of them or 18 of them sign up for a plan of care, what's the value of your time worth there? What's pretty simple to figure out. Let's say your plan of care was worth $500 and 15 people sign up for a plan of care. That time was worth $7,500. Well, I almost did bad math there. $7,500 per hour. Or you could spend your time wiping down a treatment table, or an hour doing laundry for your clinic. Well, your time is best utilized in one-to-many presentations rather than trying to, let's say, going into a physician's office and trying to get them to refer to you. You're going direct to the consumer. It's much more powerful. You're controlling more. You have better control over the entire process, and that's why I love doing workshops. And in our average workshop, we'll have 20 people, and again, and we're doing those every couple of weeks. And we'll have 18 people on average. 90% of the room will go and schedule an appointment. So that's something else that I love about it. It allows me to increase the value of my time and actually allows me to create a more stable work environment that's helping more people in the community, more stable work environment for my employees and our team, and then also better organization to serve the community. So hunting versus being the hunted. And when we go to the physician's office, really what we're doing there is we're chasing a referral. You and I have all done those, where we go into the doctor's office, and most of us have done it at least once, and we've had that jaded experience where you're trying to say something magical in the 5 minutes that you give with the doctor before they go back to their full afternoon schedule. You're trying to say something magical that they're going to refer you patients. And that I would call that hunting. And we can do that with our marketing. The other end would be becoming the hunted. And this is how powerful sharing information in the right way can be. I know we're going to get to a picture later, but you can become the hunted. So in the last 18 months alone, right here at Madden PT in this office, we've treated people from California. So that's a 6-hour flight one way just for treatment here. California, Montana, 4-hour flight one way. We had somebody drive from Lexington, Kentucky, 10.5 hours one way, and they don't have family here. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is not the destination capital of the world, and that was the third time that person was here. So somebody drive from Lexington, Kentucky, somebody flew in from Atlanta, Georgia. We've treated people flying down from Canada. We just had last week was somebody flying in from St. Louis, and then next week I'm treating somebody driving in from New York City for 2 days of treatment. That's how powerful this is. And that's what I call being the hunted. Would you rather be the hunter, having to go, invest a lot of time, money, and resources in terms of chasing referrals, or would you rather be the hunted? I think most of us agree that it's much more powerful. We would feel more respected if we were the hunted. So secret number 2, the 3 skills you need to master to host a killer workshop. Number 1 is you want to attract an audience. And Dan Kennedy, this is not original to me, I didn't invent this, but Dan Kennedy is a master marketer. Recently got to spend the day in Dan's basement, of all places, but studying with him, understanding marketing better. And Dan teaches something called the market message media match, and he draws it as a triangle. So each side of the triangle represents marketing, messaging, or media. And I gave you the example already about we used a local newspaper. It's called the Patriot News. And we would put this hideous goldenrod canary yellow flyer in the Sunday Patriot News. And at our peak, we got up to 100,000 copies of this going out. And it worked really well in the beginning. And then what happened is that media actually died. So the Patriot News died. They went from 7 days a week down to 3 days a week. They lost more than half of their readership in a year. and they were just devastated at the end of the late 2000s. Just they were devastated by everybody switching to online media. So me, not being an intelligent business owner, when that died, what I said was workshops are dead. And I stopped advertising for workshops, and we literally shut down workshops for about 2 years. And then once I heard Dan talk about this market message media match, what we did, we went back and we said, okay, is there another media that our market's responding to that with the same exact message, they're going to come to the workshop? And then we just started testing everything that you can imagine. So radio, television, direct mail, print ads in other local newspapers, online media, Facebook and Google ads. And we discovered how to get workshop attendees, workshop registrants, and new patients out of all those other media. So, and I would caution you on that. 3 years ago, we surveyed at BPTM over 300 practice owners. We said, what's the biggest mistake you've ever made in your marketing? And every single person, 100% of the answers we received were some form of media. And there were 37 unique answers, 37 unique types of media, and they range from everything from logo t-shirts to trifold brochures to advertising in sports programs or school musical programs. And the error there is that they only ever looked at the media. And I'm here to tell you that media usually is not the problem. It's usually our messaging. And it's usually we don't know how to select a market. So let's talk more about that. Once you attract a person, and we're really looking for your ideal client. So it's somebody, and I'll give you ours really quick. Our ideal client, called an avatar, AVATAR, is a 45 to 64-year-old family-oriented female who lives in a household, and we have a certain income threshold there that we look for. So they likely have insurance, they likely have a willingness to pay for physical therapy, and she has consumed conservative care in the past. Now, why is that important? Well, one, if she is just looking to go to the doctor and take whatever recommendation the doctor says, and the doctor puts her on opioids for her back pain, that's not our ideal candidate, because now we have to, if she comes to the workshop, if she thinks there's a glimmer of hope, now we have to make this huge mental shift, this huge behavior change that medicine's not the answer, conservative care is the answer. So that would be just one simple thing that we're looking for. The other reason that we primarily market to family-oriented women is because men, if they have a positive experience, are much less likely to socially share. The woman of the house likely will schedule an appointment for her husband, for her children, for her own parents, and will tell her friends through social methods about how well she's doing in physical therapy. So once that happens, and we have a room full of that ideal target, the next thing that happens is we have to convert that patient over to a paying client. And there's two big things that you want to use here that are really the secret. Number one is use of demonstration. So let's say you're doing a rotator cuff workshop, which is what we just most recently tested and then added in. Rotator cuff workshop, highest conversion rate ever. So a quick demonstration of that would be have everybody in the room sit up nice and straight, raise your right arm up as high as you can, left arm up as high as you can. Does everybody in the room have a discrepancy between the right and left arm? Yeah. So which arm's easier? People are going to tell you the other arm. So they can, that's a difference that they can see. Okay. Next, we're doing empty can. So arm straight out in front of you, thumb down, raise it up as high as you can, and then do the same thing on the left. Okay, here's what we're doing. And we go through and describe basically impingement in layperson terminology. That's what we're doing. And then we have them do internal rotation behind the back. So reach up as high as you can behind your back. Same thing on the other arm. Do you see the difference from side to side? So that would be demonstration. If you're feeling really brave, again, this is not compliance, legal, or ethical advice, but I'll usually do a demonstration treatment. So 5 minutes of hands-on demonstration just for everybody to see what we can do in with manual physical therapy. And then after that, the second thing you want to do is you want to use a worksheet. So we give everybody in the room a worksheet when they register, and it has blanks all throughout. So rotator cuff is made up of blank muscles, and they fill in 4. And then, basic things like that that are really, really simple to fill in, but that helps keep the person engaged. They're very interactive, much like we're doing here where you're typing, into the questions tab. It's the same exact thing in the room with the workshop. So you want to make sure people are following along with you. They're not falling asleep and they're engaged. And then what will happen is when you set it up the right way, you'll watch the excuses vanish of time, money, and distance. If you do a workshop the right way with the right format, what happens is when you get to the end, and I'll give you a really good example. This past Saturday, we have a newer grad. Her name is Jan. She's super enthusiastic about everything that we're doing at Madden PT. Patients love her, and she is covering for me in the workshop, and it's a rotator cuff workshop. And we had this recorded, but she got to the end and she said, okay, so here's what we're going to do. I went ahead and had Heather look at the appointments that we have available next week, and a lady stood up and said, I want Monday. We didn't even have an appointment on Monday. But like the lady, here's what the lady didn't say. Do you take my insurance? How much is this going to cost? Do I need a physician referral? Do I need any? If you set up the workshop in the right way, people are going to schedule immediately, and that's what you're looking for. And now that we're super busy and we're doing 530 visits a week in this office, we're looking ahead, and I'm pulling out like let me find it. So like I'll hold up a sheet like this, which you can see on the camera, and and I say, okay, we looked ahead at the schedule. We already have 553 visits next week and 30 new people already scheduled in. So we only have 2 or 3 appointments. There's 10 of you in the room. There's 20 of you in the room. Our first available is Tuesday at 4:30. Who wants that appointment? And then you have people jockeying for that right away. That's called an auction close. It's a little more advanced. I wasn't going to share that here, but what happens is all the excuses of time, money, and distance will vanish. And really quick, so this is the couple that drove up from Lexington, Kentucky. So they drove here once, 10.5 hours one way, and then they flew here 2 other times. And oddly, I got 3 referrals from Lexington, Kentucky from that family. Pretty neat. That actually came here for treatment as well. So secret number 3 is not making the mistakes most practice owners do, and I did for years. So again, if you're taking notes, you want to write these down. So number 1 is the topic is not specific enough. The diagnosis is too broad. So you can get away with something like an arthritis workshop. You can't get away with something like pain for runners, where you're seeing knee pain and hip pain and foot and ankle pain and neck pain and balance and dizziness, and you're trying to be one thing to everybody. You have to be more specific than that to make it work. So we have a back pain and sciatica workshop. We do balance and dizziness workshop, and we do rotator cuff workshop. We've also done heel pain. But you want to think about the ideal person you want to attract, and you can even go through and like what's on the average plan of care, what's your highest reimbursing diagnosis? You don't have to answer this one, but I want you to think through it. And it might be back pain and sciatica. Okay, well, that's the first area that I would go to and master is back pain and sciatica. Because once you have that nailed down, then you can do carpal tunnel syndrome or cubital tunnel or those smaller diagnoses. You can, so figure out what that is for you, for your practice. Maybe it's rotator cuff and you want to see a ton of rotator cuff patients coming through. Then be specific for one population of people and then expand into the others. Second mistake is not enough promotion. We have, there's actually an owner in Canada right now who's really active in our group, and I'll show you here in a second. But she has, or had in the beginning, an underestimation of the amount of promotion that it takes to make a workshop work correctly. 3 target markets: physicians, patients, general public. Who should your lowest cost per new patient be? Which target market? You can type that one in the question tab. So physicians, patients, public. Who should be the best ROI on your marketing dollars? Your lowest cost per new patient.
It looks like doctors is the answer from everyone so far. Two said patients, one said general public, patient, doctors.
Yep. So here is what we've seen. In practices that have really high graduation rates, it's easily patients, because people who already know, like, and trust you are more likely to return in the future. Pretty simple. So I know some people will argue with physicians, because you can do a physician luncheon one time and maybe they send you patients forever. I don't think that's true reality, and many of us aren't counting all the physician lunches we've had or the other marketing investments that we've had with physicians that haven't panned out. So that's kind of how we see the first two. And then the third one, it's called traffic. They don't know, like, and trust you yet, so that's going to be the most expensive. So if you're going to go straight to your past or straight to the general public in your area and you want them to raise their hand, that's going to be the greatest effort, whether we're talking about resources, time, or money. So not enough promotion. Very tough to hand out 100 postcards and have 20 people at your next workshop. Much more likely that's going to be 1,000 or 10,000, and you can get that very inefficiently. Or we do a lot of Facebook. So we've had owners that will do an ad and then boost it for $20. And then they're upset if only 1 or 2 people have liked it and nobody ends up coming. It's going to take more effort than that. And that could mean money, or it could mean more time and resources. So that's mistake number 2. Mistake number 3 is no specificity. Again, I gave you our target market and our avatar there, and I think you want to think through that as well. If you're doing a rotator cuff workshop, developing a rotator cuff workshop and going after the young baseball players who are 15 to 18 years old is a lot different than going after 45 to 55-year-old men and women who want to stay active but are having shoulder pain working out at the gym. It's very different markets, and you're going to want to decide who that is before you think about your messaging. But no specificity in market is another mistake. 4th is poor message. So a lot of errors that I see in marketing are truly not aligning the message with the market and the media. For example, you don't have to answer this one, but how many of you have ever sent out a newsletter to your past patient email list? Right? We've all done that. How does that work? Usually not well. Why is that? It's because the messaging doesn't match the media. So most successful email marketing is really short and sweet. Hey, Steve, hosting a webinar. It's at 1 o'clock. Hope you can make it. Click the link here to register. Something really simple. So the message must match the market, what they're looking for, what they're talking about. 15 to 18-year-old baseball player has a much different message than a 45 to 55-year-old male or female. So you want to think about that as well. Another mistake is wrong media. So what do you think, and you get a 5-year window here. So 20 to 25, 25 to 30, 30 to 35, etc. What do you think the #1 most responsive demographic for us on Facebook is? And you can type that in the questions tab.
Okay, let's see here. 30 to 35, 35 to 40, 30 to 35, 25 to 30, 40 to 50, 40 to 45, 35 to 45. I'll stop there because the answers keep coming in.
Okay. So the right answer, and this is not close, is 60 to 64 for us. And that's not only true for our market here, but we help over 100 other practices all over North America run their Facebook. And the #1 demographic, most responsive demographic, lowest cost in advertising per action is 60 to 64-year-old females. Pretty crazy. But that surprised me. But again, the metrics, they don't lie, and they tell a picture. So empty nest family-oriented females are the #1 most active demographic on Facebook. Kind of crazy. And then finally, no demonstration. So I work with another practice. They've never done an active demonstration of treatment, but they have everybody move. So if everybody in the room has back pain, they're having everybody touch their toes, bend back, side to side, just for a little test to see everybody, that make sure that everybody has pain. I just gave you the rotator cuff one, pretty easy to do. You can do the same thing with the balance workshop, have them do a Romberg or something really safe and easy to do. But you want to demonstrate, you want to get people moving, you want their problem to be real to them, and not just walk out of there like, this isn't so bad right now, I'll come to physio when this gets really bad. If they showed up, it's make the problem real to them so they understand how it's affecting them in their life. So no demonstration, the 6th mistake there. And here's what workshops did for us. I shared with you how we grew 600%. And this is kind of a weird problem, but we literally had too many new patients. So I had to go back and get a little more efficient. There's a Peter Drucker concept, who was a management writer for over 60 years, called quantity, quality, viability. We nailed the quantity. So you can see this huge ramp up in our new patients. This is a quarterly new patient graph that I have hanging here in my office that I pulled for you. So you can see there, 2005 to 2009 just went on this rocket ride. And then after that, we started dialing in quality and then also viability. So we figured out how to attract the right people, figured out how to convert the audience members into paying clients. And then the other thing that I'm going to recommend that you do here, which took me a while to figure out, is just record your sessions. So right now we stream them live on Facebook Live to our Madden Physical Therapy Facebook page. And it's super effective. So you're looking, again, at leveraging one-to-many. You can take your video, you can use it in other promotion, in email campaigns, and other online campaigns. But I highly recommend you record it so you can use it over and over again. It's truly an asset for your practice. And you can see the result there. So in the last 30 minutes, would you agree that it's been time well spent so far? By the way, this is my 5-year-old graduating from preschool. So if it has been, some more stuff I want to share with you here. Is this good stuff?
Yep.
Is this helping you?
We have lots of yeses and a yes with a smiley face, so I think that's a super yes.
Great. So you're excited about what we just covered. Anybody feeling overwhelmed, like you're drinking out of a fire hydrant?
There's somebody said no, someone said yes. A mix of answers here.
So good. That's pretty typical. So I can't cover everything in detail here. Can I show you something special that we put together for the Friends of Practice Perfect? I'm going to assume that's a yes. Got a lot of yeses there.
Yes, we're good.
So old habits die hard. I don't know if you've ever taken like a Con Ed continuing ed course over the weekend. You learn how to do like a new treatment technique, and then Monday morning rolls around, you grab your coffee, your tea, you roll into work, and then you go back to doing the same exact system of treatment that you did before, kind of ignoring everything that you just learned. So I don't want that to happen. And by the way, this is an actual workshop here that we host in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I want to show you a couple things here. First one is I'm doing a demonstration. This guy's name was Willie. I can share that because he was not a client at the time. So, and he did great, by the way. We recorded the whole thing, and fantastic. And he had this dramatic improvement. In less than 5 minutes, we joke around, we call it a 5-minute miracle. So it was great. This workshop, I think we had 26 or 27 people in the room, and I think we had 22 people go schedule. The other thing that you'll see is everybody has like a green or yellow sheet on their lap with a pen. That's the worksheet. And then the other thing that you don't see, other than this little table of water bottles right here, you don't see like anything else fancy. So in the beginning, like the first workshop we had, it was ridiculous, like $75 in cupcakes. We had another $50 in balloons and signs and all these decorations. And one of our receptionists brought like a fresh cut fruit tray, and we had a vegetable tray, and then we had like tea and coffee and water, and then there was some other sort of beverage there. Like, it was ridiculous. and probably like $300 total and like all this other fluff. And we don't do that anymore. So you get your little bottle of Kirkland water, Costco spring water, whatever, and that's it. Just keep people hydrated. They don't need all that other stuff. And we're focused on delivering value through information. So pretty important point there. So the first thing that we're offering here for friends of Practice Perfect is Bootcamp. And what Bootcamp is a quarterly event. This is taken from Bootcamp in Denver. And so we have 200 practice owners that are in the room from all over North America. Our next one is January 12th through 14th. That's a Friday through Sunday in Atlanta, Georgia. As we're talking right now, I think I just saw we have about 120 people registered for that already, and we just opened it up. And the gentleman presenting in the middle of the screen is John Logar. He's a healthcare strategist from Australia. Awesome guy. This was a session that he was running, and the one thing that he says during his presentation is the single best investment that you can make in your practice is you. And what you get to do is build marketing systems with me and hundreds of other owners. So you're not only hearing how we implemented and what we do here, what we've created at Madden PT, you get to hear hundreds of other owners talking and sharing about how they've implemented it in their practice. And it's really, really cool. So that's step number one. 3 big reasons why for Bootcamp. Number one thing in common for owners that we've worked with in BPTM that have doubled or even quadrupled their practice. So I know we just had an owner share in Virginia, quadrupled his practice in 20 months from the time that he started with us. So that's pretty cool. There's another one here that I'll share later in Louisiana who quadrupled his practice in 11 months. But number one thing in common for those that have had tremendous growth is they came to Bootcamp. And they'll usually say, you know, I had all this information, but I didn't really know how it fit together until I came to Bootcamp. Reason number 2 is you know this stuff works, but it's hard to implement. And then reason number 3 is the second day of Bootcamp, which is Saturday, is it's workshop day. And I literally do a workshop live, and I kind of go back and forth between talking with you as a PT physio practice owner and then going into actually delivering the workshop. So I'm telling you why that I'm doing the things that I'm doing. And I know a lot of people record that and they go back and then they nail workshops and they discover how to do that. So we talk about everything from how to fill the room, how to convert. And again, it's not only me, it's what hundreds of other owners are doing as well. So that's day 2. And here's what happens at Bootcamp. So session 1 is how to build a killer patient funnel. Session number 2 is killer pass patient direct access marketing. 3 is how to attract direct access patients from the general public with workshops. Session number 4, email marketing that gets you patients. And this is, out of the entire 3-day experience, it's my favorite part. I don't teach it. It's taught by my partner, Carl Madiola, who, when we met, was the head of online sales at Tesla Motors in Palo Alto, California. But Carl teaches an email campaign, and owners in the room will implement it, and you can hear people, they'll start to call out how many people they got in. So usually within an hour, somebody will say, hey, just send out the email campaign. We already had 7 people reply back and they want an appointment. And then, you know, an hour later, it'll be, you know, somebody will say, well, I had 22 people, and it's absolutely amazing. It happens at every single boot camp. I'd love to see that happen. Session 5 is how to tap into the largest source of direct access patients, Facebook 101. We also have awesome partner presentations, people that are geniuses within the PT practice space. For example, Steve, that are presenting information of what they see private practice owners doing, what is the latest and greatest, and they're delivering a ton of valuable information to you as well that you can take back and implement. And we have more advanced content for those who've attended before. So I talked about the patient experience funnel. This is a diagram of that. Really quick, it's lead magnet. So that's something for free where people are raising their hand and saying, yes, I want that. Yes, I have back pain. 2 is a tripwire. Usually that involves a little more time, money, and resource investment. So it might be a $10 book or a 1-hour workshop. Then it's core service. So for most of us, if we block out the left 2 bubbles and the right 3 bubbles, that's how we're looking at our physio practice. We picture it, we're trying to make all the margin, all the profit within the core service. And then after that, once we have a paying client, then there's cash pays and upsells. And usually that's in the form of small group fitness training or personal training or some sort of nutrition or like an additional service like massage or acupuncture or something like that. We have a return path for people coming back for additional care, then also referrals. And that's the entire 6-step patient experience funnel. So workshop day, again, there's a lot on this page, but it's really how to fill the room and then how to help those people schedule an appointment. The other big thing is this. There's 2 types of workshops. You're going to want to write this down. One is in-house. So everything that I've shared with you today is in-house. That's where you're going to the general public. The other thing that we teach you how to do is we have a lot of owners that don't want to invest in advertising. They pride themselves in no advertising. So what they'll do is they started something called CAWS, C-A-W-S, and it stands for Captured Audience Workshop. And for example, there's a gym local here who has an amazing, it's a Gold's Gym, a local franchise, and we ended up partnering with them. And so we're adding value for their clients. We go in and we'll do a workshop for them, and they'll have anywhere from 30 to 70 people in the room talking about whatever topic that they've determined beforehand they want to learn about. So it might be balance and dizziness or rotator cuff we've done for them. We've also done back pain, heel pain, just about anything you can imagine. And that's we cover on workshop day how to set that up. And that's when you hear from other owners delivering specifically how they do it. So how to multiply your results with automation, 10x your results with automation. And then really for us, I mean, we're literally overbooked right now. You have to wait 2 weeks to get an appointment in our clinic, and we're sharing with you like how that happened. And the same thing for other practices. So really quick, I was talking about how it's an inflection point. Bootcamp's an inflection point. This is Chuck from Chicago sharing how Bootcamp was a turning point for them, and then showing you the metrics behind it. Some other wins, pretty good growth here, a couple highest evers. The center one here is Bob, who is in California, and Bob is a veteran of private practice, 44 years in private practice. And he's at every boot camp, brings his whole staff. It's amazing, really cool stuff. But they grew year over year, 25.85%, pretty crazy. So, yep, a couple other wins. So who this has worked for, private practice owners who've been hit by POPs practices and hospital systems buying the referral sources, just like I have right here. So I didn't even share that with you, but we have 5 local POPs that I compete with. We have 3 hospital systems that employ over 80% of the referral sources now, and 2 of the largest PT companies in the US, including the #1 largest. So Select Medical is literally 13, their headquarters, corporate headquarters are 13 miles away, and they have over 30 offices immediately here that I compete with. And then there's another top 10 player in the US. Their headquarters is 6 miles away. So lots of competition. This has worked for us here, and it's worked for other owners in the same exact situation that have been hit by POPs and hospital systems. It's for owners who want to take control of their new patient flow with direct access patients, so they don't need to rely on physicians. And even if you're cash pay for private practice or out of network, or if you're doing great but you even want to do better. PTs all over the US and Canada as well. And now, as of today, we work with owners in 10 other countries. Let me see if I can get them for you. Australia, Malaysia, Canada, Mexico, UK, Israel, Hungary, Ethiopia, Nigeria. Did I say Hungary? Yeah, so 10 or 11 other countries. Is it really worth leaving practice for a day? It's tough to get things done when you're stuck in the day-to-day, when your staff is bringing problems to you. It's tough to work on your business. So you get outside and get things implemented. And then once the systems are in place, they can be worth literally hundreds of thousands to your practice, hundreds of thousands of dollars to your practice versus, 1 day of treating at, what's that worth? Maybe $500 or so. So a special offer for Practice Perfect Friends. You get the ticket to Bootcamp. Total value there is $500. And by the way, I know many people ask, can I bring my staff as well? Yes, there's a way to do that, and we'll talk about that. So step 2 is the workshop starter pack. You get everything here, including the Killer Marketing Secrets book, plus the actual postcard copy with a license to use it in print ad and direct mail. And so you get the workshop starter pack. You get the exact postcard, the print ad we use in local newspapers, and give you a 1-hour tutorial how to use the postcard to get the most full plans of care. This is Stacy's a practice owner, 27-year private practice vet up in Massachusetts. And yeah, she said our self-pity party is over and they're crushing it with workshops. They're doing great. Sarah, 26 participants, 15 people sign up. Pretty cool. And then this is the workshop king in Michigan, Andrew. 64 people, this is his first one, 64 people came, 38 signed up for an assessment. So really cool stuff. Quick study, Gilbert PT. When I started working with Mike on workshops, $37,000 in profit in 1 year. And then 6 months after we started, $117,000 in profit in 6 months. So pretty cool success there. 34 registered for his last workshop. And now he's about 2 years, 18 months to 2 years into it. So you'll be able to swipe what's working in hundreds of other practice, get the exact steps to use it, add a consistent source of direct access patients to your practice, attract people in your community to your workshops, become known as the local expert, and free your time. And it's basically going to save you a lot of frustration, overwhelm, and stress. And some quick facts here that just to show you how big of a shortcut this is. The private practice that I'm standing in 14 plus years, I've invested $2.47 million in marketing my own private practice, $230,000 after college in my own marketing education, and more time than I can count filming videos, testing copy, sales calls to doctors. And to date, I've run 164 workshops. It's fast and easy for you. It's scientifically proven. You get to see how to test it in your specific geographic area, get the exact systems and tools, and you meet the owners who are doing it and learn from their mistakes and the best practices and methods. Special offer for Practice Perfect Friends, ticket to Bootcamp, $500 value, workshop starter pack, $497. Total value there is $997. And then there's step 3, which is the differential diagnosis of your marketing coaching call. We're all different. We're in different geographic areas. Not everybody has the same exact practice that we have here and same circumstances that we have here in central Pennsylvania or US or Canada. Wherever you're at, your situation is unique. And we want to make sure that you have the best chance at getting the maximum ROI for anything that you do within your marketing. And the way that we do that is I talked with our coaches, and we're going to do a differential diagnosis call of your marketing. And what they're going to do is they're going to go through and they're going to verify that you're a private practice owner in PT or physio. We only work with private practice owners in PT or physio, so no POPs or hospitals or anything like that. And then we're going to go through and we're going to see where you're at today. And so really quick, there's 4 levels of private practice PT. Minor league is pretty much when we're first getting started and we're focused on what our logo looks like and our business cards and maybe our website. Major league is the next level up. That's where the majority of practice owners are at, and that's where we are our business. Like, we can't really take a vacation without our practice crashing. We may have a dozen staff, but everything revolves around us. All-star marketer is the next level up. That's what most of us aspire to be, where we have systems in place that don't rely on us. So we can take 2 to 4 weeks out of the clinic and our practice actually grows rather than crashes. That's all-star. And then finally, Hall of Fame marketer, and they understand that entire patient experience funnel. So when you get on the call, we're going to review your goals and challenges, and what we'll end up doing at the end is you're going to walk away with a plan with the 1 or 2 single highest leverage points that you can change, that you can make in your marketing to take your practice to the next level. We're going to provide you with a plan to implement that. So you get more consistent new patients without relying on physicians, And you might be asking, like, why would we give something away that's so valuable? And truth be told, in full transparency, this is how we find all of our best clients. And when you win, we win. So special offer for Practice Perfect friends. You get the ticket to Bootcamp, $500 value there. Workshop starter pack, $497. Differential diagnosis call, $499. Total value there is $1,496, nearly $1,500. And if all this did was add 10 new patients a month to your practice, would it be worth it? If it just took away some of your stress about relying on physician referrals and help you to diversify, making your practice more stable, would it be worth it? If it helped you attract better patients who hunted you and respected your expertise rather than you having to chase them, would it be worth it? And what's a new patient worth to you? Well, we know on average, the average plan of care is anywhere from $500 to $1,000. And how much would you pay to get $5,000 to $10,000 each month? And imagine how your life would change. So you can see why it's a good deal for $1,496. Because you're a friend of Steve, we decided to do something crazy for 10 of you. And the first 10 to sign up are going to get everything: ticket to Bootcamp, workshop starter pack, differential diagnosis call for free. And it's just $100 fully refundable deposit when you show up to Bootcamp. And why are we doing this? Steve and the folks at Practice Perfect are good friends and have really sent us some of our best clients and most successful clients. And you might want more, you might not. Either way, that's okay. And I'm about to share the link for the first 10. So here's what to do now. You're going to go to breakthroughptmarketing.com/yes. You're going to enter your information in, and I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a second. You're going to enter the special code, PERFECT. You're going to finish the checkout for a fully refundable $100 deposit and choose a time for your differential diagnosis coaching call. You're going to get access to the workshop starter pack when you're on the differential diagnosis call. And then when we see you at Bootcamp, we'll refund your $100 deposit. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now.
And if I can just interject, just so everybody knows, we're pretty picky who we put in front of our clients, who we put in front of our clinics. So I've been to boot camp. I'm going to be at all the boot camps this year, except January. Someone else is attending that one on our behalf. We've been to a lot of trade shows. What Chad is talking about, it is the real deal. We don't just have anybody, again, getting in touch with our clinics and promoting this sort of a thing. So I do encourage people to attend. It's a lot of great energy. You'll learn a lot of good things. It is well worth it, even at the not free level. It is well worth it. And I'll quiet. I'll shut my mouth and let Chad keep talking.
Well, yeah, Steve. The one thing, if you could comment on, I know you and I before the call were talking about like our experiences within industry events. Mm-hmm. And I know, at least for myself, because I've been in private practice for 14 years, I've attended a ton of events. And we get a certain feel like, oh, this is kind of the same thing, nothing new. Did I just waste 2 days of my time? Right. And like, I don't walk away necessarily feeling motivated. I feel like I was just in a competition zero-sum game. Can you talk about that a little bit and what your experience has been?
I feel when we go to we go to a lot of trade shows, Canadian and American, and I feel what happens is, first of all, they're very clinically based. There's not a lot of sort of practical business knowledge at some of the trade shows. But the trade shows, the association shows, seem to be very afraid to talk about revenue growth. I don't know why. There's not a lot of specifics. It's kind of a taboo topic, and I really don't know why. Where this is something that is purely geared towards driving more business through the door. So it's very, very different. It's very direct. It's very, very candid, and that's why we like it.
Awesome, thanks. And so this is new. I didn't even put this in, but day 3 is all about money. Now, just because deep down a lot of our owners are concerned about that. So we put together an entire day built around like how to think through financially, how to make sure our practices are stable and actually be profitable. It's okay to do that. So you can learn how to do that from us. So here's the page. Again, it's breakthroughptmarketing.com/yes. You see the Atlanta Bootcamp Workshop postcard package right here, $14.96. And then I'm going to go over a guarantee with you in a second, but here's what you get. And then you're going to enter your information in here, and then the coupon, you're going to type in, perfect, and hit apply. And you'll see coupon perfect, successfully applied, $13.96 off. So it's now $100 right here, total $100. Enter in your information, hit place order now, and then you'll be taken to the page to schedule. So Let me go back here and we'll finish this up for you. So personal guarantee, if you sign up today, you come to boot camp and you feel it was a waste of your time in any way, I'll refund you 100% of your flight and lodging. Really no questions asked. I've never had to do that. So again, first 10 are free, breakthroughptmarketing.com/yes with the perfect code. And yep, so we did all this, enter your information, special code perfect, finish the checkout. Choose a time for your differential diagnosis call. And just a quick point on that, just use normal professional manners. Life happens. If a kid's sick at school and you have to go pick up your son or daughter at school and you need to reschedule, that's fine, just do it. Just let us know what's going on. But I know 95% of the time you're going to be able to make the call. Just once you make that appointment, keep the call. And when you're on the call, you get access to the workshop starter pack. And then when we see you at boot camp, we'll refund the $100. So, is it worth investing a few minutes of your time to check this out, which even if it does half of what we've talked about on the webinar, pays for itself with your very first workshop. I'm going to race through the rest of this. And we'll go to the end here because I want to make sure that we have time for question Q&A. By the way, this is the guy that quadrupled in 11 months. Thanks again for everything you were doing. Just to give you a quick update, we're up to 472 patients a month right now, up from the 120 in October 2014. This was in 11 months, quadrupled in 11 months, still growing. Crazy and amazing. Thanks for your help and support in this process, Derek in Louisiana. So again, you get the ticket to boot camp, $500 value, workshop starter pack, $497, differential diagnosis call, $499, total value, $1496. Just go to breakthroughptmarketing.com/yes and enter in the code perfect. And at this time, Carly, if there are any questions, we can handle those right now.
Yeah, so we actually had some questions earlier that I want to scroll back to make sure that we don't miss them. I believe it was Marissa that had asked. Let me go grab that really quickly. 1 second. Marissa, if you can actually ask that question again once more. There are a lot of comments in here, so I'm not seeing it right at this moment. Someone did ask for the dates of the Atlanta boot camp again, so that's January 12th through 14th. And a couple people here just again asking those dates. So again, that was Atlanta, January 12th through 14th. And then we had someone ask, how do you get people to your workshop? And how do you target those people? So you went over that a bit, but I don't know if you want to expand on that at all.
Yeah, so two types of workshops. One is in-house. If you're doing an in-house workshop, you want to first decide who you want to the workshop. And this is all in the workshop starter pack and the tutorial video. So we're giving you the message, but you want to decide who your market is. And then you want to communicate with them. So it might be through email if it's your patient list. Could be if it's cold traffic and you're going to the general public, you're going to test. We show you how to test Facebook ads, online ads, print ads, whether it's in a newspaper or if it's in a flyer or actual print, also direct mail. So we show you exactly how to do that. You're going to have to do some sort of advertising of the event if you're doing an in-house workshop. If you're doing a captured audience workshop, that's a whole other ball game where you're going out, you're finding partners whose ideal customer, whose buyers list match what your ideal customer is, and then they're doing they're hosting you, and they're hosting the event, they're promoting it for you, and then you're doing a value add for their clients.
Awesome, thanks, Chad. Then let's see here if we have anything else came through. Nothing else coming through right now. Any other questions for Chad before we wrap things up?
Steve, while we're waiting, just want to thank you for hosting this. This is fantastic. I think I again admire more than the actual action, but that you come to boot camp, you're fully invested in what we're doing, how we're trying to, or how we're changing the industry and the environment. So thank you for
My
being part of
pleasure.
that.
Oh, my pleasure, and I enjoy it. And again, it's even changed the way that we try to get in front of clinics, quite frankly. We find coming to boot camp, we're getting in front of more like-minded practices, so the kind of the clinics that we want to deal with. One thing I should mention, a couple questions came up just having to do with, because we have a lot of Canadian clinics on board. Are there any boot camps in Canada? Well, not yet. I'm not sure if it's something Chad's considering, but quite frankly, it's less expensive for a clinic in Calgary to fly down to, say, a California or Colorado conference than to fly to Toronto. So a Canadian-based conference is not always, we're a very big country, so having a Canadian-based boot camp may not always be the most economical thing for you guys.
Yeah, there is a secret here because we work with a lot of Canadian practices. Mm-hmm. About half of our BPTM team is Canadian. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and our the co-founder Carl, his wife, they met in Vancouver. So she's Canadian as well. And yeah, there's a pretty heavy highway to Canada. We don't have one scheduled yet, but that it will happen eventually, just not before January.
Right.
We had a couple more questions come up here while you guys were talking. So yes, we had the question of Canadian boot camps a couple of times. Someone asked, would this free sign up be for the next boot camp if we can't make Atlanta?
We have done that. If so, we'll honor that. If you sign up here and you want to do the call and the workshop starter pack and get started today, fantastic. When you're on the call with the coach, just let them know that Atlanta, that those dates don't work for you, and they'll give you the schedule for the other dates in the remainder of the year. Because I think they're decided for all of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, thank you, Chad. Someone asked, how can I view this tutorial again?
The webinar again?
Yes.
Well, it is recorded. I don't remember I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask.
Actually, I can answer that one for you. So if you want to email me, I will put my email address in the chat box and just let me know that you'd like to see the recording, and I can send it. I can send you the link for it. So I'm writing that in for the chat box now, and just let me know that you want to see it again, and I can send that over to you. Marketing.com. Okay, so you should see that in the chat box. Someone asked, do you offer this workshop in different locations throughout the year?
I'm guessing that's boot camp. Yeah. Boot camp in different locations?
I'm assuming so.
Yeah, so in the past year, we've done Denver, Chicago, San Diego. We'll do Atlanta here, and then Orlando. So we're usually looking at major airports all throughout. As of this point, it's been in the U.S.
Yeah. Someone also asked, is this a one-time payment for the starter pack, or is there also a monthly payment?
One-time starter. One time. Yeah. No, there's no subscription or anything.
And then one last question here. So Marissa asked how you source your target audience on social media.
That's a much bigger conversation than what we can possibly do here, but you can think through. I'll give you a very easy way to do it. The first is geographic. The second one is think about likes that your avatar might have. So likes were a really big deal, and Carl and the team are geniuses about understanding how Facebook works, but they call it social marketing. So if I like, let's say, the Philadelphia Eagles, that says certain things about me, like that I'm likely to drink Budweiser beer and I'm probably driving an F-150 or something like that. But by the way, none of that's true. But so we tried to market like that, and that's what Facebook said this will work really well. You can even get more data now via Facebook, and you can do more specific target marketing. But most companies will do that. Social marketing, you can even get more in depth where you're targeting like income levels. And I know that might not be politically correct, but probably most of us have done a free screen or some sort of pro bono marketing. And we've had a person who was never really had no intentions of signing up because finance was an issue, or they were really looking, like we've had people come in for like they just wanted pain medications, and that's why they came to their first appointment, because they thought that this would justify to their doctor that PT didn't work and they really wanted pain medication. So that's a whole other level of demographic and really behavioral data that there's no way we can cover that here. So just start with people that have liked your Facebook page or people that are in your geographic area.
Diane said, sorry, Chad. Diane asked, I assume this is USD. And yes, it is USD. So it's $100 USD. And she also asked, are the upcoming workshops posted online? So the boot camps, I'm assuming, is what she means by that. Those dates are not posted online, but I'd be happy to give those to you. So again, if you want to email me, my email is in the chat, carly@breakthroughptmarketing.com. And it looks like that's all the questions we have right now.
And I assume for future boot camps, we're going to be doing this sort of thing as well, I would think. So we're, you'll be hearing about it from us as well.
Wonderful. Steve, just this is an aside. Do we get you a copy of the webinar? Have we done that?
You mean the one we just did, the webinar right now?
Yeah.
See, we're happy to post it on our, we have a whole YouTube site, Practice Perfect University. I'm happy to put it up on, and Facebook, the whole thing. I'm happy to get it out to the world if you guys get me a copy, by all means.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, we'll do that.
And for our users, once we get the video, if you go to the YouTube, just type in Practice Perfect Chad Madden. That's what we'll put it under. So you'll be able to find it pretty simply. So Carly, I'll leave that to you. Just to get
it. You got it.
Great. Well, thank you very much for hosting once again, Steve. This is great.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Cool. And thank you to everybody that was on.
Okay, very good. Thank you also to all of our users, and keep looking out for more, hopefully more good stuff from us too. Thank you very much.
Thanks. See ya.
See you later. Bye.